All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the launch of the Fentanyl is Forever campaign in Orange County. My name is Don Wagner. I am privileged to serve as chairman of the Board of Supervisors right now representing the 3rd District, and I'm very happy to have each of you here today as we launch this opioid overdose prevention initiative to raise awareness about the very real dangers that we are facing as a community because of opioids like illicit fentanyl that is readily available to the public. On behalf of this Board of Supervisors, the staff of the Orange County HealthCare Agency's Mental Health and Recovery Services team, as well as our county providers and our first responders, I want to express how dedicated we all are in facing the opioid crisis in Orange County together. The board is deeply troubled by the threat that illicit fentanyl poses not only to the residents in Orange County, but throughout the United States. Fentanyl is the #1 killer of adults ages 18 to 45, and it is the most frequent type of opioid involved in opioid overdose deaths. We are particularly concerned about our young people. Any pill or powder available on the street could have fentanyl in it, and it only takes a few grains of fentanyl to cause death. From 2017 to 2021, there was a 55% increase in fentanyl-related deaths among young adults. I'm personally dedicating a great deal of time, effort, and resources in this fight to save the lives of our residents. My colleagues are doing the same. My office has allocated naloxone to our schools, ensuring the school staff are equipped with this rescue drug that you'll hear more about today. I'm passionately working with our Sheriff's Department and funding education in our schools that aims to equip youth with the tools they need to prevent experimentation with this deadly substance. And I'm actively involved with the OC HealthCare Agency in hosting town halls throughout my district to talk to parents, families, and my constituents to offer information, resources, and support. The Fentanyl is Forever campaign seeks to engage our residents with moving stories to spread the word about the very real impacts of this dangerous drug, but also to offer hope for recovery and to offer resources for help. This is another tool in our arsenal to fight this battle by drawing attention to this crisis and reinforcing just how critical it is to talk openly to our loved ones and to educate our young people. Together we can stop illicit fentanyl from taking the lives of our young people. We hope you'll visit and share our website, fentanylisforeveroc.org. This afternoon you'll hear from each of my esteemed colleagues, each of whom is fervently invested in this battle. Then you'll hear from the HCA's Mental Health and Recovery Services team with details about the campaign as well as about the continued expansion of this life-saving medication, naloxone, including the increased strength brand Cloxado, which can reverse an overdose. Then we'll open for any questions. And now let me invite to the podium the Vice Chairman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors from the 1st District, Andrew Doe, to say a few words to you all. Supervisor Doe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I'm Vice Chairman Andrew Doe, Supervisor for the 1st District. The devastation of fentanyl is forever. It leaves families shattered and communities in despair. Even a minute amount of fentanyl contamination can be fatal. Fentanyl is up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Just 2 milligrams of fentanyl, which is equivalent to 10 to 15 grains of salt, 10 to 15 grains of table salt. It's considered to be enough to be lethal. According to the CDC, over 150 people die every day from overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Most recent cases of fentanyl-related overdose are linked to illegally made fentanyl or synthetic fentanyl, which is distributed through illegal drug markets for its heroin-like effect, either in liquid or powder form. It is often added to other drugs because of its extreme potency, which makes the drugs more powerful, more addictive, more dangerous. But the attraction to users is that it's cheaper. The widespread availability of fentanyl on the drug market causes a lot of other types of drugs to be contaminated by cutting of their agents and of the drugs themselves. And so for that reason, people really should not experiment with legal drugs or use drugs at this time. This fentanyl prevention campaign is more than just a series of ads and a website. It is a pledge to our community. As a county supervisor, I have dedicated my time on the board to supporting mental health and recovery services. In 2015, together with then Supervisor Lisa Bartlett, we formed the Mental Health Ad Hoc Committee on the Orange County Board of Supervisors. Since then, I have worked closely with the healthcare agency's mental health and recovery services team, together with our provider partners and advisory committees, to promote behavioral health initiatives that support our residents. The stigma surrounding addiction and substance misuse is a barrier to recovery. This is why the goal of this awareness campaign is to make sure that everyone not only understands the danger of fentanyl, but most importantly, that you know how to get help. We heard from Chairman Wagner earlier about the expansion of the FDA-approved opioid overdose reversal medication, naloxone, hydrochloride nasal spray, and the increased strength brand of Claxado. This past June, Orange County became the first California county to purchase Claxado, which is double the dosage of Narcan, 8 milligram versus 4 milligram of naloxone. This will allow for a single dose to be administered in an overdose reversal situation, which is critical if waiting for medical staff to arrive on time. It's important to highlight that 78% of the opioid overdose reversals involve using at least 8 milligrams of naloxone. That's why Claxado is so important and is so necessary. We are excited to make Claxado available to our Orange County community today, which Dr. Kelly and Dr. Huffman will go into greater details later. The fentanylisforeveroc.org website contains information and resources in key threshold languages to support our families and offer hope. Remember, a drug overdose can happen to anyone at any time. We must take every opportunity to inform the public about the dangers of fentanyl and the resources available to prevent any more lives from being taken. I would like now to invite to the podium Supervisor Sarmiento from the 2nd District to say a few words.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Doe. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Vicente Sarmiento, the Supervisor for Orange County's 2nd District, and I stand before you today with a deep sense of purpose and a profound commitment to equity and diversity in our great county. I'm happy to participate in introducing a campaign that aims to confront the stark realities of the opioid crisis and make a difference where it matters most in our diverse and vibrant communities. Today, we launched the Fentanyl is Forever campaign, and as a supervisor representing a very diverse district. I understand the unique challenges and needs of our community members. It is my firm belief that we must leave no one behind. And this campaign is a testament to that commitment and includes several languages throughout the execution of the materials and the media platforms. In this campaign, equity and diversity are not just buzzwords. They are guiding principles. We recognize that this crisis does not discriminate by ethnicity, income, age. It impacts us all. Our message today is clear. We are fighting for all of you. We are fighting with all of us to make sure that we make a difference. Our campaign slogan, Fentanyl is Forever, carries a powerful message. It reminds us of the permanent consequences of fentanyl misuse. But it also carries a message of hope, a promise that together we can end the cycle of despair and bring about positive change. As we launch this campaign, I want to emphasize that our commitment to equity, diversity, and confronting stigma is unwavering. We are united in our resolve to protect every member of our community to ensure that no one falls victim to the devastating crisis of fentanyl. I look forward to working hand in hand with my fellow supervisors, our dedicated community partners, and each one of you as we embark on this journey and bring hope and healing to our beloved county. For me, this is especially important and especially personal because I know that, as was mentioned, 1 out of every 5 youth deaths in California is caused by fentanyl. But among Latinos, there was an 85% increase in fentanyl-related overdose deaths in 2021 from the year before, and the numbers were just as high in 2022. So we know that as these devastating impacts hit our entire population, they always tend to fall heaviest on people of color. And so I stand committed with all of the supervisors here to make sure that we promote this campaign because I know education and awareness is so vital to that end. I want to let you know that in August, Cal Optima approved a $15 million purchase and distribution life-saving effort of 250,000 doses of naloxone. I want to give a shout out to my colleague on that board, Supervisor Chafee, and I know that we are going to start distribution on that in the next months and in the first quarter of 2024. So with that, I want to thank you for helping us make sure that this campaign is successful. Our lives and the lives of people we care about and we love depend on it. So let's make a difference together. And with that, I'd like to introduce my esteemed colleague from the 4th District, Supervisor Doug Chafee.
Thank you, Supervisor Sarmiento. It's a pleasure to work with you on this board and also Cal Optima Health. Together, we're achieving some great things, improving the health of our people in Orange County. I'm Doug Chafee, your 4th District Supervisor. I am pleased to be here alongside my colleagues to introduce the Fentanyl is Forever campaign. For some time now, we have co-hosted fentanyl awareness town halls with our dedicated Orange County HealthCare agency teams throughout Orange County. During these events, we educate the public on the misuse of opioids, provide resources and information on how to access treatment, how to recognize an overdose, how to use opioid rescue drugs like Narcan. Sadly, opioid-related deaths have affected people of all ages from every walk of life. As we look at the history of opioid-related deaths in Orange County, over the past few years, the pattern appears to be shifting. In the past, adults aged 45 to 64 had the highest mortality rate of opioid-related deaths. Now, our young adults ages 25 to 44 are the age group with the highest rates of opioid-related deaths. Our campaign carries a profound but simple message. Fentanyl is forever, and so are the lives that we lose to it. But the campaign also carries a message of hope. We can save lives by being proactive and sharing the facts about fentanyl and its forever consequences. Knowledge is our most powerful tool to prevent fentanyl and opioid-related tragedies. My office has been working tirelessly with our community and agency partners who are essential to the success of the campaign to ensure that our campaign spreads the message through our schools and communities so everyone, especially families, can have open conversations about fentanyl. As we launch this campaign, I want you to know that our commitment to our communities and families is unwavering. We're united in our resolve to protect everyone, especially children, from the dangers of fentanyl. We encourage you to help us get the message out so we can protect all our loved ones and the future generations from the dangers of fentanyl and opioid misuse. Together, we are stronger, and together we can work towards a safer and healthier Orange County. Thank you for your attention, and look forward to working alongside my fellow supervisors, our remarkable community partners, and each one of you as we embark on this journey to bring hope, health, and healing to our county. Now I'd like to invite our 5th District Supervisor, Katrina Foley, up to say a few words. Supervisor Foley?
Thank you, Supervisor Chafee. Today, as you heard from my colleagues, we are embarking on a critical step to protect our communities, our families, and kids from this devastating grip that fentanyl has on our community. Fentanyl remains one of the most dangerous drugs on the illegal drug market. And you heard it's the equivalent of 2 grains of salt, enough to kill. I want to give an example. So the point of this pencil, the point of this pencil, if you tap that point, that's how much fentanyl you need to kill. It is a very, very dangerous drug. And yes, indeed, fentanyl is forever. 647 Orange County residents died from fentanyl-related poisonings in 2021. And you notice I said fentanyl-related poisonings, not overdoses. This is intentional acts by people to kill our community. In 2022, we lost 555 lives. While fewer deaths in 2022, that's still 555 lives too many. Fentanyl continues to outpace causes of death amongst our Orange County youth. Again, fentanyl is forever. So many families losing their children. It's personal to me. As I sat over here waiting for my turn to speak, I couldn't help but feel emotional. Fentanyl has forever taken one of my son's friends, a beautiful young man, a surfer, a friend, a skateboarder, somebody who was always chill, as my son would say. He and his girlfriend took a Xanax, but one pill can kill, and forever we no longer have those two with us. Forever their families struggle with the loss. It's personal to me. Last year, my husband's golf student, a twin, died from fentanyl poisoning given to her by a drug dealer. Forever, she is lost. Fentanyl is forever because she's no longer going to be on the golf course. She's forever lost the opportunity to be the auntie of her twin sister's little boy. She's forever not going to be the twin, but she's forever embedded in that twin's identity. It's heartbreaking. Fentanyl is forever because one of the football players that my boys played football with, whose mom is a local elementary school teacher, parents who are always so involved in their kids' lives, going to the PTA meetings, always providing support for the football player teams, forever lost to fentanyl poisoning. No more football, no more fun camping trips. Fentanyl is forever impacting that family. And then just this morning, I was at the State of the Schools event, and I learned of yet another student poisoned by fentanyl, forever lost. Fentanyl is forever because that student will no longer be able to practice for water polo, not making it to the homecoming dance this year, and definitely forever gone from his family's life experiences that they looked so forward to. These dealers are poisoning our kids. They're using product that purposely looks like candy, but one pill, one of those candy pills, can kill. Our campaign targets our youth to understand the attitude that it's not safe. Experimenting with recreational drugs is deadly. This idea that, oh, it's no big deal, it's not going to happen to me, is false. And for those of us in our 50s, it's not the same world. Fentanyl is forever, and you'd never know if you are getting that one pill, that one speck of powder that could kill you, or a friend or a family member. Please, I'm begging our community, I'm begging our parents to talk to your kids. I'm begging kids to not take drugs that are not prescribed to you by a doctor, a medical professional. It's nearly impossible to tell the difference between a pharmaceutical professional drug and fentanyl-laced fake pills. As a mom, a wife of a teacher and coach, an elected official, I am personally invested in making sure that we spread the word, in getting the word out, in helping to educate our community that fentanyl is forever. In the last 2 years, our board has stood unanimously to support legislation that will help to hold drug dealers accountable, that will help to address how social media is being used to target kids. At the county, we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in substance use abuse. And you've heard from my colleagues how we're taking it further to invest in treatment that can prevent an overdose. Cloxado is one of those investments. We're getting this out into the community because this will save a life. Now we ask for your help with helping us to grow awareness for our Fentanyl is Forever OC.org campaign. Please go to the website fentanylisforeveroc.org to learn more about resources. If you'd like to visit one of our town halls that many of us are hosting, we are having one in District 5 on October 24th at 6:30 at the Coast Community College District Boardroom in Costa Mesa. We're hosting this in partnership with our healthcare agency, our Assemblywoman, Cotty Petrie-Norris, who has carried legislation to address social media, and with our Newport Mesa School Board member, Carol Crane, the City of Costa Mesa, our Costa Mesa Police Department, and Fire Department. I encourage residents to attend, ask expert questions, learn how to administer this life-saving Cloxado or naloxone. Thank you. I hope the community will join us in this fight because fentanyl is forever, and we want to keep our kids here and experience those lifetime of activities that we all love. So at this time, I'd like to invite up our chief of our healthcare agency's Mental Health and Recovery Division. I know Dr. Kelly is committed to caring for the mental health and the well-being of our community, and she is doing a great job. Dr. Veronica Kelly.
So good afternoon. As our honorable board has stated previously, we are really excited to kick off our Fentanyl is Forever campaign here in Orange County. Orange County, like many of our counties in our nation, is grappling with our opioid crisis, in particular the devastating impacts of fentanyl. You heard a lot of statistics. One of the ones that's the most concerning to all of us is the recent increase we've seen in the past 2 years for children aged 10 to 17 who have died by fentanyl overdose and poisoning. We've seen that rate increase by 122%. There is good news. The good news is that because of events like this, getting the information out, and because of our partnership with law enforcement as well as our treatment providers, we are seeing a slight trend in the right direction. We are seeing a reduction in fentanyl overdose deaths, but we have to keep going. As a clinician, I know how important it is to get information out. As a mom who has used Narcan to reverse an overdose of my own child in my home, I know how important it is to have Narcan on hand. Fentanyl is Forever campaign is funded by Orange County's Opioid Abatement Settlement Funds. This is a multimedia campaign to increase education and awareness about the devastating impacts of opioids, in particular fentanyl. And so now let's take a moment to watch a few selections of the videos that are part of this campaign.
The people called the ambulance right away, but they could only revive his friend. I'd do anything to get my son back.
My son.
My grandson.
My big brother.
My best friend.
Fentanyl is forever.
I've been in the ER for 15 years, and it's still scary to see. I hate losing people, and I'm losing too many to this.
Fentanyl is forever. Perdimos a 2 camaradas ese día. Isabel era como mi hermana. Había fentanilo en esas pastillas. Nadie sabía. El fentanilo es para siempre.
As you can see, the message is impactful. I'd like to now introduce and ask to come up here to lead us in a naloxone demonstration, Dr. C. Scott Huffman, who is an Associate Medical Director here with the County of Orange.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And thank you to the entire Board of Supervisors for inviting me to speak on this. My name is Scott Huffman. I'm a physician. My name is Scott Huffman. I'm a physician, psychiatrist, and one of the associate medical directors here at the Substance Use Disorder Treatment Department at the Orange County HealthCare Agency. I'm also a paramedic and have worked on a 911 ambulance and administered naloxone myself as well. First slide. Today we're going to cover signs of overdose and how to administer naloxone. Naloxone, what is it? It's an opioid antagonist blocker medication given to an individual experiencing an opioid overdose. Opioids can include fentanyl, heroin, and several prescription and counterfeit pain pills. These include things like oxycodone, Vicodin, Norcos. Naloxone is also the same medication that's carried on ambulances and used in emergency EMS reversals. Naloxone reverses the life-threatening effects of opioid overdose and can help to save someone's life. Most importantly, naloxone reverses the effects of opioids on the body that can cause someone to stop breathing or decrease someone's breathing to the point that it's life-threatening and cannot sustain life. So a key point here is with someone with an overdose, we're looking for someone who's not breathing or inadequately breathing. Naloxone can be administered by anyone with familiarity on how to use naloxone. And everyone walking out of here today will have that familiarity. Instructions for use are printed on every naloxone kit. Those are the same instructions that I'll be reviewing with you today. Next slide, please. Naloxone, we've talked about a couple different formulations. Naloxone is available as under the brand name Narcan. That's been out for a while. That's the 4 milligram strength. And then as was spoken to earlier by the supervisors, then there's Cloxado. If we could advance the slide. Cloxado is the 8 milligram, the stronger formulation. Key point, both Narcan and Cloxado are naloxone. So they are both forms of naloxone. It is simply a dose strength. Again, the 4 milligram in each spray for the Narcan and the 8 milligram for the Cloxado. Another key point is naloxone does not reverse overdose from other non-opioid substances of use. This includes things like benzodiazepines, Xanax, or Valium as examples, or stimulants or methamphetamine. Slide, please. So some of the key points. So what I just mentioned is that naloxone only works to reverse opioids. However, even if we aren't sure of what substances, and this could be multiple, that an individual was exposed to and are causing the overdose, the best practice and guidance is to give the naloxone if you see any signs of what could be an opioid overdose. It will not harm the individual. Most naloxone kits, this included Cloxado and Narcan, contain 2 doses of naloxone. So there's actually 2 spray kits in here, individually packaged. And the second dose can be given if the person does not respond to the first dose after, say, 2 to 3 minutes. And as was spoken to earlier before, a lot of overdoses, because of stronger forms of opioids, including fentanyl, are requiring multiple doses of naloxone, whether it be Narcan or Cloxado, multiple doses in order to reverse. Good advice, too, is if you encounter someone who's in an overdose and multiple boxes of naloxone are available, good to have those on hand in case someone, there's 2 sprays in here, but in case more are needed, it's good to have any naloxone that's nearby on hand. What are some of the signs of overdose? So, person is not responding, won't wake up, or they're unconscious. They do not respond to, say, shouting their name, or if, sir, or attempts to shake them. Usually start maybe with trying to shout at the person to wake them up, and then also maybe shake them as well. Another sign, like I mentioned earlier, is the breathing is slow, infrequent, irregular, or has stopped. So again, either not breathing or inadequately breathing. And sometimes this is seen as irregular gasps, gurgling, or something similar to snoring. The center part of the eyes, the little black circle in the center of all of our eyes, known as the pupil, can be very, very small. We refer to that as pinpoint pupils, and literally can be about the size of a pinhead at times. It's another key sign. And then lastly, skin color is blue, ashen, or gray in color. And this is especially noticeable around the lips and fingers. So again, even if you see someone with some signs that maybe they are trying to breathe, that gurgling or gasping, looking for that blue or gray color is another telltale sign that someone could be in an overdose. Now let's move on to how to administer naloxone. So again, first check for signs. You encounter someone you're concerned about. Check for signs of an opioid overdose, like I just mentioned. First ask if the person's okay. Shout their name. Try and wake them. Perhaps they're not responding to voice or touch. There's that slow or absent breathing. We can advance the slides to show some of these points. And again, the pinpoint pupils, like I mentioned, are a hallmark sign. If you're seeing all of that, place the person on their back on a stable surface, if they're not already, like on the ground, and then call 911. So both administering the naloxone and calling 911 are both important steps. Ideally, say there's two of us there. One person can start giving the naloxone, the other call 911. If one person's there and you have that naloxone immediately ready, probably good to get that on board to the person, get it administered, and then call 911. Basically, no delay in either, but as early as we can get that naloxone into the individual, the better. Next slide. So, how do we actually give the naloxone? So, open up the box. I'm not going to waste this actual kit, but we would open up the box and find two individually packaged sprays. I have a demo spray unit here, so there's no actual naloxone in this. You'd hold the naloxone spray with your thumb on the plunger and your index fingers, your first two fingers on either side of the nozzle, as such. And that's the position in order to administer it. Next step. Support the person under their neck, so you kind of have to picture me lying down, but support the person under their neck with one hand and tip the head just back slightly. Then, next step is we're going to actually put the nasal spray up into the nose and all the way up to the base of your fingers. So all the way up into the nose. And then next step is where you're actually administering it. So press that plunger firmly and all the way down, okay, to give that entire dose. And do not pause. This is something where you're going to give it. So again, when you press down on that plunger, press firmly and all the way down. You never want to test spray, see if there's medication in there. This is a one-shot opportunity here with each spray. So all the way down. Then after you've given the naloxone, of course, then remove the unit from the person's nose. Continuing on, just a reminder, like I mentioned earlier, if not already done, make sure you call 911 by this point, okay? Then, we have an illustration there, you want to move the person into what we call the recovery position, or on their on their side. This helps to, if there were any secretions in their mouth, this helps to, as you can see from the picture, clear that. You want to continue to watch the person and watch them closely for signs that they are waking up from your first dose of naloxone. If you're trained, consider CPR rescue breaths if the person is not breathing, and chest compressions if the person has no pulse. So another recommendation from today is please, please get CPR trained. If the person does not wake up after 2 to 3 minutes, repeat another dose of naloxone. However, do it now in the other nostril. Okay? Naloxone can be repeated every 2 to 3 minutes until the person awakens or until emergency medical help arrives. And as I mentioned, if we have more than one box on site, hopefully our EMS is there, and in most urban areas they would be by the time that, say, the second dose was given. But if there are additional kits on hand, the naloxone can, again, be repeated every 2 to 3 minutes until that person awakens or EMS arrives. And exactly as it says, stay with the person until EMS arrives. It's that simple. Some additional points. We talked about naloxone in the home and should be in the home and should be available. And a key point is exactly as mentioned. Make sure family and loved ones always know where the naloxone is stored. Everyone in the house needs to know. Naloxone is safe and effective for use with children and youth. Like I mentioned before, do not test spray that device. Not even just a little bit to see if there's really medication in there. Don't ever do that. One shot. So, especially with stronger opioids like fentanyl, someone may start to wake up. However, we may see signs of an overdose. Either their breathing slows again or stops. It can return after several minutes. So you want to watch for that closely. Again, we'd hope that EMS would be there by that time. Like I mentioned, CPR may be needed, and good for everyone to be trained on CPR. Naloxone can cause, so when the person wakes up, naloxone can cause several withdrawal symptoms. I mentioned quite a few there: body aches, cramps, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fast heart rate, sweating, nervousness, restlessness, trembling, irritability. That is not comfortable, okay? But we have the person awakened again and breathing. That's the most critical part here. And we have medications that can be given in a hospital to manage withdrawal symptoms, but just good to be aware of it. I know I've said 911 several times, but always call 911 when you're administering naloxone. And then in terms of storing naloxone, should not be stored in an extreme hot or cold environment, so no in your car on hot summer days. This does not go into the freezer at home, those kinds of things. So ideally, typical room temperature of, say, 59 to 77 degrees. And last point, or points. So truly and hopefully as I've demonstrated, anyone can learn this, anyone can do this, and anyone can teach this to someone else. And together, we really can all save someone's life. And now everyone in this room is equipped to do that. Next slide. Where can we get naloxone? We have Cloxato available for distribution in the back of the room. And then, as has been mentioned, the Orange County HealthCare Agency, in partnership with Hazelden Betty Ford, we have several distribution sites, fixed-based sites, and there are drop-in times, as you can see on the slides. And at these locations, both the education is provided and available, and also free naloxone is distributed as well. So both education and training and naloxone directly into your hands, into your homes from these resource sites. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And the reason we're taking time today to let all of you know this is because, as you've heard, our Sheriff's Department, our Orange County Fire Authority, local police and fire departments, they all have naloxone on their vehicles, but they're not the first responders. You can be. Sometimes it's the teacher who finds a child in a bathroom. Sometimes, God forbid, a parent finds a child on a floor in a living room or a bedroom, one of their own children or a neighbor. Those are the first responders. And we want to make sure you know how to make sure that fentanyl and the death that accompanies it is not what's forever. That we give as much opportunity to people throughout our county to live and to save the lives of their loved ones. So thank you, Dr. Kelly. Thank you, Dr. Huffman. And to all of my colleagues, I hope we've demonstrated today our collective commitment to getting fentanyl out into the county and to protecting our loved ones. We want our residents to feel safe and empowered with the information and with the resources to know the signs of an overdose and to be able to talk to your loved ones about this insidious threat to our community. We'll now take questions from the press. That's, if there are any questions.
I've got one question. The nalox for Dr. Huffman.
Dr. Huffman.
You said it only works on some things it doesn't work on, but if you give it to somebody that's ODing on something it doesn't work on, will it harm them?
No. So, and again, best practices, we're not sure what, and it could be multiple substances at play. If we see any signs of what could be an opioid overdose, best practice is to give that person that chance and give it.
Sir.
Yeah, you guys are describing this as a public awareness campaign. What's different today with the Fentanyl is Forever campaign? Oh, thank you. What's different today than before? You guys were doing town halls. We had previously purchased, I guess the county has purchased naloxone and is planning to distribute that. Explain the difference that this Fentanyl is Forever campaign, what exactly is this doing? I want to make sure I get that right.
I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kelly to give you an answer, but from where I sit, as we watch this blow up in our community, we must and can take action. And the numbers are staggering, the increase we're seeing, and so we want to make sure we bring awareness to as many people as possible. Dr. Kelly, anything?
As the chairman said, we need more than one way to get the word out. So any way we can get out, this is multimedia, so this is going to get out to our social media outlets as well. It's packaged a little bit differently. It's been tried in other municipalities, so we know it's effective, in particular with our youth. It's multilingual. So it's just another tool that we have to get out the word that fentanyl is forever.
Is this, you said it's in other communities. Where, and is there any way to say, to measure how effective this is?
Yes, so Ventura County is one of the ones that has been using it probably the longest, and we are also collecting metrics to determine how effective it is. Unfortunately, sometimes when we do media campaigns without doing the upfront work, we actually propel people towards use and experimentation than keeping them away from it. Hence, this is your brain on drugs.
Is the campaign called Fentanyl is Forever in the
Yes.
other counties? Okay. Thank you.
The next two questions come from our YouTube chapter for Dr. Kelly. There's no outlet listed, but this is Jane. She says, hello, OC. DEA reports widespread threat of fentanyl mixed with xylazine. Has OC encountered any issues with tranq within the county?
So xylazine, also known as tranq, has not been seen in actually California in the manner it was 3 years ago. So Los Angeles County had some incidents. We have not seen xylazine here. which is a sedative hypnotic and does not respond to Narcan or naloxone.
Great, thank you. And the second question is, where do people find access to fentanyl, or what are the most common ways?
To the illicit drug, fentanyl?
Correct.
So if you are receiving a medication, unless it comes from your doctor or your pharmacist directly to you, assume that it contains fentanyl. It is the most adulterative substance we are seeing in our illicit substances today. So it is in every pill that people are purchasing, whether they're purchasing it on the internet. Many of youth are purchasing through Snapchat. They're purchasing 1 or 2 pills, an Adderall or a Percocet, to get them through finals. And what's actually in those pills is 100% fentanyl.
Great, thank you. Any more questions from the press or members in the room?
Yeah, the percentage of people who've passed with as a result of fentanyl, what percentage of those people were poisoned, if you will, by accidentally using fentanyl versus what percentage were trying to use fentanyl and overdosed?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I would just respond saying dead is dead. And so we aren't looking to see, is it because they were trying to get high or if they just took a pill. I'm sure that the information, probably a 10-year-old's not looking to get high. So again, we have folks who are as young as 10 who've died of fentanyl. The important thing to know is that treatment works, recovery happens, and Narcan can save a life.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other questions, thank you all for coming out today. Please feel free to stop by the tables to learn more about the mental health and recovery services available through our healthcare agency teams. And as was mentioned, to receive a dose of naloxone. There will be an opportunity to speak with any of us individually for a few minutes, and we'll all be available over there by the tables if there are further questions. So thank you all for coming out. We're going to save lives, please. Fentanyl is forever. Let's get on this. Thank you all.